Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Chen Hanzhu. I'm currently a student at the Paris-Sorbonne University, and I'm delighted to be here today to give you a short presentation about definiteness and indefiniteness. Definiteness and indefiniteness in Mandarin Chinese. So my talk is divided into 4 parts. First of all, I will begin with the definition of definite and indefinite, and then I will talk some morphological strategies in Mandarin Chinese. And then I will examine the syntactic strategies, especially a particular case of the ba sentences. And then I will give a small conclusion. So first of all, what exactly do definite and indefinite mean? For us, definite expressions and indefinite expressions are considered as the instruction given by the speaker to his interlocutor. So, we speak of definite and indefinite term operators when the orientational parameter only concerns the question whether or not the intended referent is presumed to be already available in the addressee's pragmatic information. So we adopted here as a framework the approach of Simon Dick to carry out our analysis. So by means of a definite term, speaker invites addressee to identify a referent, which speaker presumes is available to addressee. And by means of indefinite term, speaker invites addressee to construe a referent, conforming to the properties specified in the term. So a referent may be presumed to be available to addressee on 4 bases. They are long-term pragmatic information, short-term information, perceptual information, and inference information. So let's see some examples in your handout. 3b. Yesterday I met an old friend of mine. He did not even recognize me. So by means of indefinite term, an indefinite expression, an old friend of mine, we construe a referent X, and by personal pronoun he, we identify this X, which is now available through contextual information. So with this definition, we should be aware that for the formal expression of the operators definite and indefinite, there is a frequent but not a necessary correspondence with the definite and indefinite articles or affixes. That this correspondence is far from complete, even in English or French. For example, her pronouns that they are definite, but in English they don't take an definite article. So, after giving the definition of definite and indefinite, we turn now to morphological strategies in Mandarin Chinese. As you are all aware that Chinese is a language which is claimed to have no articles, no function equivalence of the definite and indefinite articles in Western languages. However, according to some linguists such as Zhao Yuanren and Li and Thompson, the demonstratives is beginning to function as the definite article the if it is not stressed, and E plus classifier if it is not stressed is beginning to function as a of English, as you can see in examples 4 and 5. But it should be known that the definite terms in Chinese could be characterized by the absence of any determiners, including the demonstrative, or the absence of any quantitative or qualitative determination. Bare noun phrases and numeral noun phrases by themselves are neutral in respect of the interpretation of definites. For example, the noun shoe book itself can be translated into French in 4 different ways: le livre, les livres, un livre, et des livres. Thus, this leads me to my next part, which is syntactic strategies. So in Chinese, the syntactic function is closely correlated with the definite and indefinite reference. Many rules have been proposed. For example, the subject has a strong tendency to have a definite reference, and the object has an indefinite reference. All a noun is definite or indefinite according to whether it precedes the verb or follows it. I quoted here a classic pair of examples. 客人来了，来客人了。The guest arrived. A guest or some guest arrived. You can see the noun phrase 客人 can be interpreted as definite when it precedes the verb, but it interpreted as indefinite when it follows it. So beside the subject, there's another important point, that is the sentence of 把. The use of the 把 sentence is linked to a definite reference, and the case when the 把 noun phrase is interpreted as indefinite is considered as the exceptions to Chinese. This is considered as a general rule, recognized by the vast majority of linguists, and are often cited in textbook. So, definite and indefinite opposition is established in the pupil's mind in relation to articles of the same name in French. As Chinese is a language without articles, the French pupil even passed through the French translation to check whether or not they can use that. But look at the table in your handout. Our data shows that the 把 structure, E plus classifier plus noun phrases. Noun phrases can occur in a 把 noun phrase position, and we have found 7 possible uses of the sequence 把 plus E plus classifier plus noun in our corpus. In these examples, 把 noun phrase could be interpreted differently, including definite interpretation, indefinite specific interpretation. And the category D should be mentioned in example 11. 我想把一本中文小说译成英文，但还没决定译哪一本。你说译哪本好？That contrary to expectation, the 把 noun phrase here has not only an indefinite interpretation, but also an interpreted non-specific interpretation. So I would like to end this talk by looking at another important case in which the 把 noun phrase, taking the form of E plus classifier plus noun, is used in conference with the preceding element in a text. And we found 2 major factors that lead to this use. The first one is the text producer's interpretation, and the other one is shift in the point of view. So it is generally assumed that the co-referential relationship involves only definite expression and proper nouns. An indefinite expression is not usually considered to be an element that contributes to the establishment of co-referential relationship. So in example 15, after introduce this character with the proper noun 不成 in the first sentence, the text producer must normally use definite expressions to refer to this character, as he does in the sentence that the follow first mentioned. And we note, however, an indefinite expression, a 把 noun phrase, taking the form of E plus classifier plus noun in 15a, also refer to this character 不成. This expression could be replaced by its proper noun. But it is to be noted that 一个诗人, a poet in 15a, is not so much a bare account of an event. We believe that the co-referential use of a 把 noun phrase, taking the form of E plus classifier plus noun, characterize 不成 as an aspect, and which could be the factor relevant to the strong reaction of the speaker. By choosing up an indefinite 把 noun phrase and not the proper noun, the author highlights two contrasts of 2 different images, poet and murderer. And it is to be noted that this particular aspect of 不成, being a poet, has already been mentioned earlier in the text, and therefore is known to the text receiver. But it functions here as a new feature to be emphasized because of its particular relevance to the situation. It is this nuance that the indefinite expression proposed to be represented. And in example 16, a man sentenced to death represents the following war criminal. But this time, it is obvious that the expression contains new information about the war criminal. And at the same time, this description of the war criminal represents the text producer's interpretation of it in a way which explains why everybody feels powerless when we have to release him. By choosing a noun phrase of the form E plus classifier plus noun and not a personal pronoun, we could tell that this is not a mere presentation of the fact, but the text producer has chosen to present the event in an interpreted form. And for example 17, the co-referential use of the noun phrase is not due to interpretation, like example 15 and 16, but to another factor. It is the shift in the point of view. So to sum up, as we have seen that an indefinite noun phrase of the form E plus classifier plus noun, that is co-referential with the preceding expression, is crucially related to a certain degree of nuance that results from a particular way in which the text producer organizes and presents the context of the text, more specifically, interpretation or shift in the point of view. And it should be noted that for English or for French, even for Chinese, the category of definite and indefinite do not concern simply a morpheme, but the interpretation. For Chinese, the structure of the noun phrase is not the only factor related to the distinction between definite reference and indefinite reference. The syntax of the whole sentence, as well as the broader context, plays an important role in a language without article like Chinese. So multi-factors interact, mutually reinforce, and mutually condition each other. This forms a complex system of the interpretations of noun phrase as definite, indefinite, specific, non-specific, generic in Chinese. And so much for my presentation. In the end, I would like to extend my sincere thanks to the organizing committee, to the professors and the students. Thank you all for your efforts. And I would like to express my deepest gratitude to my directors, Monsieur Marc Duval and Monsieur Alain Maréchal. Thank you very much.
Any questions?
我想问一下，我们现在在这里虽然算是那个语言学理论小组，但是我们都在讲汉语，所以我就看一个例子，我就有点不知道怎么给学生解释这些例子。就我可能不只是问你这个问题，而是问大家，想各位同事请教一下。比如说像这样的例子11，我想把一本中文小说译成英文。我就记得在我们这些汉语课本上，写的是对这个课题的要求是，它一定要是定制的，就是一定要说我把这本中文小说翻译成汉语，不知道其他的同事记不记得这样的一个规则，至少是一些课本上它包括，所以我就在想怎么给学生解释这样的现象。
对，这也正是我这次演讲主要的目的，就是说。
可能我没听到。
没有，可能因为我这次主要就是讲那个把的后面的同质性，所以在把字句当中，其实在你可以看到我的表格里，就是把加一加一个量词加一个名词的这种形式，其实在中文当中跟以往研究不一样的地方其实是存在的，而且它有不同的方面的问题。那您觉得这个例子，首先您觉得这个例子对您来说是不对的吗？还是说
不知道怎么把这些例子给学生解释，因为他们记得如果说的是，比如 不定制的现象。
对，
刚刚进的那个语法规则上说语法定制的，所以怎么给他们解释？
对，这也就是刚才我说的，其实，在我们用把字句的时候，当我们教学的时候，经常很多法国的学生会去翻译成法语，然后看它是定值不定值，才决定能不能用这个把字。但实际上，把字句当中是可以有不定值的现象，就像这句话当中，它就是必须分析成，在这个语言环境下，它必须分析成不定值，因为后面有说，但还没有决定一哪一本，你说一哪本好，所以这种情况下是一个不定值的现象。
所以他们算是一种例外还是？
不是例外，就是您正常的。我觉得是正常的，在我的研究范围内，因为还有很多其他的例子，比如说我可以把一个丑，像王朔的小说里面有提到，我可以把一个丑女人变成一个漂亮的女人，不费吹灰之力，像这样的例子也是都是加以亮明的形式。甚至有些人就是可能北方的一些同学，南方的一些同学可能很难接受，但是北方同学可能还会说，我今天我把一份资料忘记带了，你能帮我去拿一下吗？这种情况呢也是可以的。谢谢。
老师，这个句子是您自己写的，还是什么？
这个句子是宋玉柱先生的文章里面摘抄出来的，但是我刚才说的那个，我可以把一个丑女人变成一个漂亮的女人，这个是王朔小说里面的例子。
需要一些证据，就是需要知道是。
不好意思，这句话因为每一句话我都有标记出处啊，这句话可能忘记标记了，对不起。
我想问一下，就在这些所有法加非现实里面，英语里面有没有找到什么共性？
共性。
对，这样的话可以有一个规则，说什么样的非现的英语可以出现在法中。
对，您这是一个好的问题，我现在没有办法给你一个具体的解答。
有一个想法，不知道有没有道理，因为就我看到的你举的这些例子，确实它是符合我的推断，但它有一个共同的特点，就是它有非现实性，某种程度可能是虚拟的。会不会和那样的虚拟有关系？我知道我们之前在学英文的时候，虚拟的主要的表达手段是实的虚拟。那这个有没有和那样的虚拟有关系？我只是一个猜测，是一个想法。
因为那个在定值与不定值当中，就是我所讲的就是 non-specific indefinite， 它的有一个条件就是说是虚拟，不是实质的。但是在这个把字句当中，如果说你是要分成那个 definite indefinite specific，
所有你举的这些把字句的例子，在我看来，这个把字小句都是虚拟。
是吧？那可能我这个例子选的行，这个
我不晓得是不是有其他的例外，这是我拿这个表上面看到。
对，是有的，是有的。
我当时觉得这里面的倾向性好像是类似，它可以把一个丑女人，这个一个丑女人应该最简单的应该是它应该是一个这个 generic 的东西 ，generic 比较和这个 definite 比较有
就是 any kind of。
对，因为
所以这个刚才说的，第一是没有硬性的，
那你这个地方
就没有硬性的规矩，但是在这里它是特殊的，
是因为后面这一句话，
任何这样我想把一本小说意思是任何小说，是吧？所以这里有 generic 是一个特殊的那个含义。
除了这个 generic 为主，还有就比如说你刚才举的另一个例子，就是我把那个一本资料落在家里的，这个呢其实是就是这个 speaker 是知道的，对，它是那个specific， 虽然不是 definite， 但是它一定也是一个。
但还有一个可能是比较重
还是有
要的，
限制的，不是绝对的 indefinite。
比较重要的一个现象是，我们都觉得是 definite 就是定值的、不定值的，其实不是这样，它是怎么用的？是吧？比如就是英语的，所谓的就是定值不定值，法语的、德语的都不一样。所以就是我们觉得，即使有定的，我们家说成了就是定值的，其实不是这样。所以它是需要就是每个语言，比如英语。它对定值和不定值有自己的一些是理解的，有时候它是会变得比较突出，但是有时候它其实没办法从比较就是简单的区分就是判定，所以我们可以说的好的是，所以汉语这是也是潘昂双的他是说的汉语里面，你刚才在做报告的时候。 begins to function as definite indefinite，那可能是受了这个又是 conjunctionalization begins to function，它不是 begins to function，it functions like definite or indefinite article，所以它就是在基本上是一个体系，可是这个也是把字句也是在这个体系当中，所以这是一个定值不定值的一个字体系，但是非常有意思，好，谢谢。
好，谢谢大家。